Good evening, YouTube friends and family. It's your girl Laura, and today I want to talk with you about complicated relationships. And have you ever looked at someone's social media site, whether it's Twitter, Facebook, and on the relationship part, it states in a relationship, but it's complicated. So, how did adult relationships get so complicated? I want to attempt to answer that question today. How did we get so complicated? Why do we make things so complicated? And what causes complications? Those are the three questions that I'm going to attempt to answer today. And I want you to enjoy the quiet water as it's flowing by. And the ducks and the swans and the geese, they're out enjoying their lives just as peaceful. Nothing complicated going on at all. Okay, so let's jump right into this. Complications, complicated relationships. Oh my goodness. Have you ever watched kids and their relationships? It's not so complicated at all. They want the best for each other. There's no pretense at all. What you see is what you get with kids. They have innocent conversations. You know, they may whisper and everything, but what they're whispering about is nothing complicated. They may share secrets. They may talk about who has a crush on who or who likes who. They may talk about what they're going to do after school, or what games they're going to play during recess. But it's never complicated. And I've noticed with children that they can have a dispute or an argument, and the next day they're right back friends again. You know, they don't want to be mad at their best friend. They don't want their best friend upset at them, and it really hurts them. So the next day, they're right back friends again. So why can't it be like that with adults? I'm going to look at complicated relationships from the perspective of, remember when you were in high school or college and you had to learn algebra? Well, first the teacher would start off with X plus Y. And you were like, you know what? I got this. This is so easy. I understand what X plus Y is. And after about a week of doing X plus Y, then the teacher introduced you to X plus Y plus Z. And you're like, okay, wait a minute. You know, can I do this? But if you already learned the foundation from X plus Y, then you caught on to X plus Y plus Z. Okay. So then the following week, the teacher starts to introduce exponents. We all know about those fun exponents. They start to introduce negative numbers, and then they start to introduce integers. And so then by the time you're done introducing these different concepts, you may come up with an equation at the end of x to the 10th power plus y to the 5th power plus 2 to the negative 4 power. And an equation that used to take maybe 5 or 10 minutes to work on now takes about 15 or 20 minutes to complete. And there's step 1, there's step 4, there's step 7, all of these different steps before you can complete the equation. So how does that equate to the complications of adults' relationships? Well, with adults, you have to be careful who and what you add to the equation of your relationship. Be careful. Let me say that again. Be careful with the who and the what that you add to the equation of your relationship. Do you remember that old saying where it says one bad apple can spoil a whole bunch? Well, watch who you add to your relationship, because one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch. One person can come in and just cause everybody to be upset with each other, angry. They come in with a different motive as far as the relationship. They change the dynamics of the relationship. So be careful who you add to the equation of your relationship. And then there are when you add something different to the equation, well, then what type of seeds is this person sowing? Okay. These are some of the bad seeds that I came up with that can get sown by others. Seeds of distrust, doubt, dissension. Now, we can't ignore that when someone tells us something negative about another person, we can't ignore the fact that what they have said about that person causes us to look differently at that person. I don't care how you try to ignore it or whatever. When someone brings you a negative piece of gossip or information about someone, it causes you to view that person differently. So bad seeds sown by others, negative seeds sown by others, will cause everyone to start looking at each other differently. Okay? And so the results of that is distrust, doubt, dissension. Okay? That's the end result of someone else being added to the equation who's not on the same page, who don't have the same motives, who don't care about the relationship the way you care about it. Selfish ambitions, selfish wants and needs, putting themselves first, and so can wreck the whole foundation that you have set up with your relationship. Now, what about bad seeds that we sow into our relationship on our own? Extreme competition with one another, jealousy, envy, fleshly desires. Okay, that's one of them. Fleshly desires, when the flesh gets into it. Petty differences. Okay, not resolving petty differences or allowing petty differences to get in the way and change the dynamics of the relationship. Perceived violations. Emotions. Emotions is a big one. Emotions. I kid you not. Emotions can get into a relationship and where you're coasting along just fine and trying to resolve things, emotions get into it. You become overly emotional about something simple. And then it gets blown all out of proportion. And then here it is, it's hard to recover from that. So be careful with your emotions. Don't let your emotions get all into something and you say or do something that you'll regret later, or say or do something that you can't take back later. So emotions. Also unforgiveness. And that's the last one that I have on my list is unforgiveness. When unforgiveness comes into the picture, it creates a lot of chaos, and things that could have been mended and repaired end up being ripped apart, or a band-aid placed on it, or just left in disrepair, So those are the things that I came up with as far as why relationships become so complicated. And how can we alleviate that complication? Be careful who you allow into the dynamics of your relationship. I'm just going to recap. Be careful what type of seeds are sown by yourself or seeds sown by others. Stay away from negativity. Watch those emotions and forgive often. My auntie, she lived until she was 98 years old. And I asked her before she passed away, I said, what is the key to your longevity? And what's the key to, living a long time? And what have you learned from being on this earth a long time? And she told me that she learned to laugh often and forgive instantly, and to look over petty differences, and to always operate out of a heart of love. And that's what she left me with. And so that's what I'm going to leave you with today. That's how we remove the complications out of our relationships. Relationships can be less complicated if we practice those few things. So I hope you enjoyed the content today. I'm trying to give more content as far as things that we can apply to our lives and our relationships. My blog and my blogging is all about relationships, building relationships one step at a time, one word at a time. And so that's my purpose with my blogging and with my blogging on YouTube, is to build relationships. We're all experiencing difficulties in some areas. Relationships are difficult enough. We don't need to make them more complicated, you know. So if you've enjoyed the content today and everything, or if you enjoy the content of my channel overall, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, or share. I'm quite sure there's someone out there who may be experiencing the exact same thing. And when I vlog or when I blog, I'm blogging from experience, the life experience, what experience has taught me, and from wisdom, and applying what I have learned and what I have experienced to my life. Now, do I always apply it, you know, to every situation? No, sometimes I fail. I fail miserably. You know, I fail miserably. But I do. My heart is that I do want good relationships with the people around me. I do want good relationships with my family members. And I do want to operate from a heart of love. You know, I do want that to be said of me, you know. And I do want to repair my relationships with the people that I love and that I care about. And so each and every day I have to ask God to help me with that, to show me, you know, how to resolve different things and how to move forward. But from experience, this is what I've learned. And I just want to share that with all of you. You know, I don't know what you're experiencing, but I speak from my experience, and I speak from what I've learned, and, you know, from what the word says. So, you know, God bless you all. And until we meet again, bye-bye, my friends.